And we are live, baby. We are Huang and hello, hello, brother. Can you hear me?
Yes.
Perfect. Apparently, we're having some difficult technical difficulty, so let me start it again. Hi, guys. We are Huang and
And Aiko, and we're the Essence of Truth podcast.
which is all about the freedom and happiness that everybody wants, guys, and do not know how to get.
Exactly, especially when technology doesn't play in your hands like we just had right now. And so this is kind of perfect for our topic today because we want to talk about, will AI replace you or will it help you to become irreplaceable? And I mean, we live in a fascinating and exciting time, but also kind of, scary time because we don't really know what's going to happen. And uh, I know a lot of us are afraid of losing our jobs or just getting replaced by AI, robotics, humanoids. And so, and this is a real thing. And funny enough, at the very beginning, when this whole thing started, people thought, would be the blue collar jobs that would be replaced first, because machinery and stuff has been developed and happened for years already in industry and stuff. But what we're seeing now is like actually the white collar jobs, they're going to be the first to disappear. And so people are in a position where like, okay, what should I do now? Should I learn something else? But then what if I learn something else and then that gets replaced as well? So it's kind of a scary place to be, but it's also a place of huge possibilities. And so today we want to break down, how can you use that? And it's not just so much about losing your job, but also looking into losing yourself, because something that both of us have seen with the people we interact with or simply online is that more and more people are relying on AI or other kind of things to solve their problems. They rely on them to think, to make decisions, to choice, to communicate with others. And while it's exciting, and like there's so many things you can get out of that, because I used it myself too. But the thing is, if you start completely relying on it, like you don't make a decision, you don't think about it, you don't do anything. Everything you do, the AI does for you. Then your own capabilities to solve a problem, to communicate, they will shrink, because like it's you use it or lose it, like a muscle. So if all the communication that I do, if I'm writing a post or commenting on someone or chatting with someone, if I dump all the stuff into AI, like, first off, how fair is that to this person? Because this person thinks it's talking to a real person and it's actually talking to a machine. But then also, what does it do to you? And the danger with that is basically, like, AI is amazing in solving problems and being creative and writing text for us, but it's placed in the hands of our insecurities if we are not aware of them. Because if I feel insecure of like, oh, what should I say to this person? How should I answer that? Well, let me just ask ChatGPT for it. Okay, boop, I dump that in, and then this person even responds like, oh, thank you, for hearing me or whatever kind of thing. It's like, oh, cool, this works, right? And then you start relying on it. But the more you do that, your feeding and your insecurity will grow, because every time again when you have to tough conversation or you don't know what to answer, instead of finding a solution yourself, you rely on AI, and you're losing yourself in the process. And same goes for a lot of other things. So there's a huge danger and losing your sense of self, your capabilities, your skills to handle things, because you have insecurities, and we all have that. And it's so easy to fall into this trap because we want to avoid pain. We are wired for that, and we are naturally also lazy. So it's so easy to fall into this trap. But we really need to look on the core here of who we are, who we want to be, and to put ourselves out there in a truthful way. And I personally believe that the greatest asset for you, if you for yourself, for your relationships, for your business, maybe, is going to be yourself. to own your flaws, to show your flaws. Because in the world where, I mean, let's just face it, social media has for a long time be very fake. Right? Like you make an effort to have the perfect background, or you're looking nice, or you have a sports car behind you, and like, yeah, look at me, great life. But then in reality, it's not the case. But now with AI, you don't even need to put your own words out there. Or even, like if you have seen those ads where like, hey, you want to start a business? Let me tell you how to make a YouTube channel where you make videos, faceless videos, so you don't even need to show yourself. And guess what? You don't even need to speak because the AI speaks for you, and you don't even need to be creative, have ideas, or have a script for something because the AI does that too. So at the end, you don't do anything for it. So you don't develop any skills, you don't overcome any challenges, you don't grow. And so my fear is that thinking ahead with that, who do we become as a person? Like just me. Who would I be if I just completely rely on that? And I'd let anything that I want to do, I let AI do. Like in a year from now, who am I? And what's my sense of self? What's my sense of self-worth if I don't really contribute anything? Because all the contribution I put out is made by an AI. It's not even my own concept, not my own thought, my own belief, not my own opinion. And so this is where I see the danger. And I'm saying, and don't get me wrong, I'm totally pro AI. It's exciting, and I'm using myself a lot, but I'm using it to grow and to make myself irreplaceable, which we're going to get to. But I want to highlight this point because, and I want to be really honest and vulnerable here. My past self, before I went to this personal development journey, I was shy, I was super insecure. I tried to avoid any kind of situations that would feel uncomfortable or where I felt like, I could embarrass myself, avoiding pain. But by actually putting myself out there to grow, to overcome these things, like this is how I first of developed a sense for self, who I am, who I want to be, what I believe in, what my opinions are, standing up for myself, owning my flaws. I became me by facing that, and I changed my personality. But if I just do the thought process, just as a, being playful here, if right now I would be my old self from 10 years ago, that old self would never, go to the UK trying to understand somebody, trying to have a conversation with someone, because I could just use AI. Like even right now, like I mean, this is also what I did in Vietnam, where like I used my phone, like hey, boop, 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 and it's translating for me, it's speaking with me with the other person, and it's missing out human connection. Because back then, just real quick, when I went to the UK, like I learned in school to read and write English, but not to communicate. I could, of course, I could speak out the things that I know, but hearing and understanding them, especially with their speed, with their dialects and accents, I couldn't understand anybody. And I found myself so embarrassed because in every conversation, I'm like, sorry, can you repeat it? Sorry, can you speak slower? And then they speak louder instead of slower, right? So you have to ask again. And I felt myself sweaty and so embarrassed and so uncomfortable. But I grew through that. And this is 10 years ago. And I can now remember so many connections that I made back then because people became friends or people were very interested in me or giving me compliments where I was just sorry. But they were like, man, I actually really respect what you're doing here because I wouldn't dare going to another country trying what you do because I'm just too scared for that. Right. So this is how I developed myself. And I remember those situations, those people, those interactions. While when I was in Vietnam, which was last year, where I just used my phone to communicate with someone, I didn't have those meaningful connections. I remember that I used the phone, but I don't remember the person. I don't know their name. I can't even remember their face. So there's a lack of communication, lack of relationship there. And we are social beings. And so there's way more ties emotionally to the people in the UK than to Vietnam. And I mean, Vietnamese people are amazing. They're super kind and everything. But I wish I could have done, now that I'm gone, I wish I could have developed more meaningful connections over there. And so one of the things also is with AI, I see an increase in loneliness and connecting in meaningful ways when we just choose to communicate via AI and let AI choose for us what we answer to somebody. So I know I dumped a lot out of there, but first off, Huang, before I want to hear your opinion about it, I would like to hear your guys' opinion about it. Do you see it completely different? Do you agree? Do you have other ideas? Do you already had situations like what I just described, or completely different ones? Because I'm totally open. Like I'm totally fair to say, like, you know what? Okay, sorry, I was completely wrong. It's so amazing. Please share that with me. So this is just for me. But Huang, I'm very curious about your perspective on this.
Wow. I mean, it is so true that we, oh my God, there's just so many things in my mind, and to put it out there, communication, right? Um, in the end, I hmm, in the end, AI is just like any other tools, right? That we can either use it, utilizing it, and gain mastery over it, or well, we can let it destroy us. And in terms of it's all because of our own choices. Are they going to make us stronger, enhancing us, right? Amplifying our unique value? Or are we going to allow them to replace us, right? Making us or bringing us down into, well, I would say hiding in plain sight. And we practically disappear because of, um, because of our choices in the end. And this is actually something that this is the framework that I learned from Tony, right? Tony Robbins, um, is is this good time, right? And I may butchering it over a little bit, but good time um, make weak people, right? And weak people, well, they make bad time, and bad time, wow, here's the cool thing, make strong people, right? And strong people, what they do, they make good time, and the cycle goes on. We can see it throughout history, right? History of the warfare, how after the war people become weaker and their children become weaker. You can check it out. I don't remember the detail. And after they become weaker, warfare comes again, and those people that were, well, in the eyes of the other people, the generation before, they become, well, they have to grow, they have to fight for their life, they have to fight for what they believe in, for the family, for the children, for their friends, for the country. They become strong, one of the strongest and most powerful humans generation in the history of mankind. So yeah, this is gonna be the same, right? I'm making a connection because AIs, are they gonna allow us as human, you know to grow, to become stronger? Are we going to allow that to create even more challenges for us, right? Or we will be, and I love this about you, brother, when you often say you're lazy couch potatoes. Couch potatoes. Are we going to become that, or something else, something more, right? Enhancing us. And more often than not, ask yourself the question, right? What is it I want? Right? Is it challenging, or is it, is it something that I really want to? And it's cool. It's fine to sometimes like, oh, I just want to, sometimes we do need rest. Um, and why other time like, how does this help me? How does it help me strengthen me, growth? And how does this challenge me? I believe it's kind of the cool thing. Something else I connect to martial arts. I have a martial arts teacher. He is actually one of the best in Netherlands, and his way of teaching is he say one thing, and it may not all be true, right? But this is what he believed in. He lived following it, so lots of respect for him. Um, I think soft master or soft heal master, making rotten wounds. I'm translating to, to English right now because he's saying in Dutch. So practically, he believed, by challenging and being hard on the people that he's teaching, they could become stronger, they could grow, they could face life. And I love that philosophy in that way, and which is why he extremely strict, right? Like, and that is how he produced so many champions. He's interested in that, and it's been for years. And yeah, so with this, with challenges, with strength, with being strict, it's many things could be achieved. Our mental, wushu and martial arts and tai chi, they are practically very disciplinary sport. You don't just do things once, right? And then it's over. You do over and over and over again. You train your mind, focus. You train your body, to physical training. And well, in the end, how much will affect us in life? So the same thing for AI, right? It's a tool, and it could either go one way or the other. And how would you use them? What question would you ask yourself? Would you ask, uh, or you ask the people surrounding you, right? To make a choice, I'll say.
Very well said, brother. And thank you so much for sharing that, especially because you brought it up where like you're asking yourself questions. Because when you think about it, especially when you use AI or ChatGPT, we're like so many are about like prompting it right, like prompt engineering and things like that. But how are you prompting yourself, right? Like how do you what questions do you ask yourself? The best way to direct your focus is to ask yourself better questions. And so, what is the question you ask yourself? It's like, oh, how can I just use AI for this, or how can I use AI to become better myself, so I can solve this better, I can become better, and coming to a place where like you become irreplaceable, whether it's for your job or maybe even maybe you want to start your business or something. This is where it comes down to the essence of truth: to be yourself, to bring yourself into the equation. Because if you use AI, like think about it, AI always uses the same pattern. And and you see that already in Facebook and the videos and everything, where like every post and what people are saying, like when they read the ChatGPT script, it's always the same message. It's always the same pattern. You can predict they're gonna say the same things at the same time and in the same rhythm. Like I see it instantly by now when someone is using it, because it's always the same. So think ahead like 1 year, 2 year, 3 years from now. If everyone just keeps on doing that, who wants to watch or read or anything like that? Because it's always going to be the same. It's like watching the same movie over and over again. As if, let's just say you watch the same movie. The only thing that changes is the characters, but they're going to talk the same. They're going to do the same. Why would you watch that? And so what's going to stand out, whether that's in the workplace or whether that's in business or your relationships, is your uniqueness. And the greatest thing we are afraid of, our insecurities, they're going to be our greatest assets. Because, and I've seen it time and time again, by owning my insecurities, speaking about them, not in terms of complaining or whining about them or trying to connect with my problems, but like no, simply like like for me, I have this and this problem, but I'm trying these things to solve it. This opens up a space where somebody else can be like, oh, actually, I have the same problem. And I had that so many times happening from people I didn't even expect them to have certain problems, where like they came to me like, oh, thank you for saying this, because I actually have this too, and I never dared to speak with anyone about it. And then we had the space, we opened up, and we could either go together to a point, or maybe I already solved the problem, I could help them solve theirs. But I also see it with my clients, where like I'm using AI to improve myself. So my own ideas, my own opinion, my own concepts, I try to use AI to get more research, to get more data on it. Especially, for instance, we probably know, like I had an autoimmune disease for a long time, and I was searching for answers for how to solve it. I went to 10 doctors, nobody could give me the answers. I read articles and magazines and tried to understand studies, but I was moving so slow. And like now with AI, I found the answers that I was looking for 10 years. And so now I'm trying these things out and I see like they actually work. They work really well. So I include them and I make my own experience and then I share that with my clients. And so I'm not copying what I see somewhere from AI. I first of test it, make my own experience, put my own stuff in there, then I share it. And then I get, and also this way I get to help my clients too, because then they ask me, oh, for me it was this and this way. And I can then tell them, yeah, of course. So then you need to do this and this, or like maybe try this and this out. And the results that I created and my clients created have been amazing because of that. But if I would just copy paste the thing, I'm like, well, I don't know. Maybe, I just take that question, put that in, and get some kind of thing. There's no experience behind that. Plus, it's the human connection. It's that creating a space where they can open up, where they get to share, where they get to make their own experience. Because what happens then? They grow their own self belief, they grow their own skill set, they improve their awareness and their consciousness. So next time something happens in their life, a challenge is coming up, they need to make a hard decision. They first of all are way calmer than before. Instead of just reacting, getting stressed, there's calmness, there's focus. And they get to decide, how do I want to solve this problem? How do I want to feel in this situation? Who do I want to be? But if everything I do, I just put into an AI and then just share and do whatever the AI says, who am I in this equation? If I'm in a job and all I do is using AI to solve the problems, of course I'm going to be replaced. Like the employer can just use the AI straight away. Why would this person need me? But if I can bring me into this, make it unique, to add value that the AI can't do, then I become irreplaceable. And if I can, share from my own experience, my own stories, things that the AI doesn't have access to or doesn't know or can't do, then I'm becoming irreplaceable. And so when you make your own, you want to grow your own business, whether it's on Facebook or somebody else, if you share you, if you share your flaws, whatever they might be, this is how you connect. Being raw, being authentic. Authenticity is going to be the highest value you can give, because everything is just going to be copy paste from some form of AI. And so that's why, thank you so much, Juan, for sharing that, because at the end, it's like starting with how we prompt ourselves. And I practice every day to prompt myself from my core, from my truth, who I want to be, what I want to give into the world. And yes, of course, depending on situations and areas you go, maybe there's a certain, dress code or how you should behave or kind of thing. These are just the universal laws that have always been there, where you kind of need to adjust, but you still want to be yourself. Like the whole problem that we have for decades and then for centuries is that we try to fit in, we change who we are so much because we are scared to be ourselves that we lose ourselves. And like since COVID, loneliness has increased, everything has increased, insecurities have increased. And now we're at the doorstep where like AI could solve these insecurities, at least for the moment. But I'm always looking long term, what does that do to me? And this is what I would like you to ask yourself. What would it do? Like, however you're going to use it at the moment, what does it do to you? And literally ask yourself, are you using AI to grow, to improve yourself, to become better, to build yourself up, which then also builds your self-belief? Or did it already come to a point where AI is using you, where you feel so incapable or so insecure to do, to say, to whatever something, that you just use AI for anything, all of it? This is the scary part around it. So who are you in this equation and who do you want to be? This is the essential question, at least from my opinion. I don't know, how do you see that, Juan?
Man, so many gold drop over there. Did you guys hear that? Did you guys hear that? So many gold drop. I was taking notes so I couldn't respond as fast. Being the Zen guy, Yeah. Oh my God. I really love it. And this is also going to be my takeaway, which I will reiterate at the end of it. How do you prompt yourself? right? We do prom, what is the prom that will make us the most money? What's the prom that's make us happy? What's the prom, and all about prompts, prompting the machine. But I really love it. So thank you for sharing, brother. How do you prompt yourself? Right? How do we do that? And yeah, at the end, you share that, right? What does it do for you, right? For us, will it build us? And in the end, it leads to two questions: Who are you, and where do you want to be? Become, right? So I really love that. Thank you, brother. I just wanna, yeah, I just wanna say that. And yeah, throughout the journey, and throughout the conversation, I have an image, I have a dream, I have a vision. I see it's how us we you know how we learn anything as a kid. um, we couldn't speak the same voice as exactly as our mom or our dad, right? It's not possible. We can only copy, we can learn the language, which is the letters, the word, but our voice will always be our own, right? Our voice will always be our own. And we can sing, which is why songs and that art, I don't remember the name, songs and artists, they can sing the same song with a different voice, and the music, they kind of get evolved slowly, isn't it? In the beginning it was just one type, and now it's slowly advanced or evolve into a different type of music as well, right? In Asia, in Africa, in America, in the ancient music as well, from tribes. So I had a question. I think someone was doubting in the past, either she could sing or not. And I say, of course you could, right? You can develop your own voices, and throughout the rhythm, integrating with your own voice, you will find the way to sing that. And getting back, it's all about integration. We see something that we want to do, right? We want to learn. We can either memorize it, which is not integrated, literally word by word. That is what you say, right? Copy paste, and that is very, very, very different. That is without a soul. In the end, without a soul is without us, our own piece, our own part. And how we come so far, in the world is because we're adding our own part, our own voice, our own rhythm, our own self. And yeah, that is kind of adding the thing, and that is how we can really stay in authentic with ourselves. We share, oh my god, I wasn't perfect in the beginning, and then during that I learned this thing. Woohoo, I really love that, which I really did, right? Learn all kind of stuff. And then during the journey, oh my god, it's not that easy as it look, huh? It's so hard. So hard, right? We fall, we get up, we fall again, flat on our face, and so on. We get better. That is how anything is being learned, integrated. And until now, um, yeah, I used to not be able to speak English or speak Dutch, and now I could. And the same for you, right? For any of you, and for our brother here, Heiko, he was not able to speak English, right? And then he could. And the journey in itself, right? Being vulnerable, sharing the true journey, like how painful it was in the beginning, because, oh yeah, it's interesting journey. We learn that, and we getting better. The same with everything else. If we were to just copy and paste, which I did in the beginning when I was in Vietnam, we're supposed to learn biology, and I just literally repeat something over and over again until I memorized that without really understanding squash about it, and then question, and then that was how I learned. Well, until life teach me something else. When I go to Netherlands, I cannot learn in that way anymore. It's lacking the soul. So yeah, I don't remember how, or why I get into this, but I think it has to do with what my thoughts are about this. and it's our soul, is our journey. Our journey is our experience, that we going through, falling and getting up and falling again. That's what makes us human, right? AI is, so far I know of, AI copy paste. So that's a very, very big difference, as I was copy and pasting too when I learned biology class in Vietnam. I hope that resonates.
Yeah. Thank you so much for sharing that, and I love that you brought it up. And it's also like my takeaway of this, where like first of all, like you want to bring yourself into it. It's like almost like be you are the spice to the dish that makes it delicious, right? Otherwise, it's just plain, it's flat, it's boring. You are the spice that makes it exciting, and you get to choose. You want to be the cinnamon, you want to be the chili, you want to be the salt, the pepper. Like you get to choose, right? Be the flavor, be your own flavor. And it's so funny that we are so scared of our flaws and insecurities and being judged when this is what actually makes us unique in a world where so many are trying to stand out but then still using stuff to where they basically just sound like everybody else. So be yourself, trust in that, trust in yourself, experience life, because at the end, I mean, we have this one shot, and I rather squeeze every little juice out of this life than the time that I have for it, rather than playing safe, hiding behind whether it's a mask, whether that's AI or whatever kind of thing. Because the only way to truly experience life is to get out there, is to take the steps, to fall on your face and getting up again. As you said, like it's those up and downs, which yes, of course it's painful, but it makes it exciting. Like every favorite movie that you have, there are these ups and downs, right? The hero faces a challenge, grows up to the challenge, but then something happens and they're falling back down again. It's worse than before. But then they rise even more. They overcome themselves or their challenge. They defeat the villain, and there's the happy ending. It's this up and down that makes it exciting. If the movie would be like, hey, I want to achieve this thing and everything they do would be perfect, there would be no challenge, nothing to overcome, no failure, no nothing, nobody would watch it. It is the drama, it is the conflict, it is the villain that makes the story exciting. And so, what do you want your story to be? Do you want it to be boring, as lame kind of thing, where everything is just perfect? Or do you want to have the juice of life, the pride of overcome challenges, the magnificence of exploring or breaking through your own limitations and boundaries, the freedom that comes from exploring who you are, what you're capable of, what the world has to offer. This, I mean, we live in an exciting time. And I mean, at the end, it all comes down to how are you going to use the technology that's coming up, whether it's AI, robotics, humanoids, whatever. There's great potential. I'm very excited for it, but also because I know I am conscious and I'm aware of how I'm using it. I make sure that I'm staying myself, that I'm evolving myself, that I'm feeling good about myself. And yes, I know I'm going to make mistakes along the way. Yeah, maybe I fall into a rabbit hole here or there. But this is, again, it's just all part of life. And it's okay. At the end, all comes down to how you feel about yourself at the end of the day. And so if you're getting to a point where you feel like an imposter because everything you did was based on AI, maybe it's time to change something. If you're not really sure yet, if you're just testing things out, great, go ahead, test things out. Like, I'm not saying you don't use any of that. I encourage you to use it. Make experience with that. See what's possible. See how you can improve yourself. But then again, it's coming down to how are you prompting yourself? Where are you going? Are you using it or is it using you? That's my takeaway. That's what I want to take out of this. This is how I want to move on from here. And I'm curious, how is it for you? What did you learn today? What are your takeaways? What are your questions? What are your stories about this? I'm really curious to hear your part of this because I'm very passionate about this topic and I'm so curious how the world is going to change.
Oh man, we become a little bit philosophical today, aren't we? I kind of feel like, yeah, our passion, guys, our passion of personal development, our passion of growth, become a better human being, so much better than the one that we used to be. And with that, that is all it is about, right? We want to leave the earth better than what we found it. I think that was one of the quotes Jim Rome asked, telling, or sharing. You want to leave things better than what you found it. So what would be the things you would like to leave behind or see changes, like in the world that you would like to see? And because you either complete it or play a part in it, guys, playing a part in it, it does work as well. So what part will you be playing in? Very excited, and very excited to share this journey with you guys, right? And also excited to well, hear what your thoughts are about as well. And um yeah, as I shared before, right, about my takeaway is the prom, guys. What and how do we prom ourselves? So important. It determines our destiny in the end, right? So at the end, remember, life, life aren't. And this is something that I stole from. I'm a thief. I stole beautiful quotes from amazing people. Yes, I'm a thief. Yes, I pirate their amazing quote. But there has been really my lifeline for a long time. My lifeline of energy and inspiration. It was from Sylvester Stallone, right? It's in one of his movies. Say, life is not sunshine and rainbow. When he was sharing it with his kid in the movie, nobody's gonna hit as hard as life, but it's aren't about how hard you hit. It's not about that, but it's about how hard you can get hit, and all of us getting hit by life, right? That's why we cry all the time. That's why I think we have tears and stuff, besides giving our eyes drive. Right. um, it's not about how hard you can get hit, but it's about how hard you it's not about how hard you hit, but it's about how hard you can get hit and keep moving forward, right? How much you can take from life and keep moving forward. And that is how winners is done. That is how winners is done. And each and every one of us have that spark of light, that spark of winner in us. Being a winner is facing it. Being a winner is, putting ourselves out there, is being visible. And if it takes some time for you to get there, take some time to get there. It's the journey that matter in the end. And if you really know what you're worth, right, then go out there and get your worth. I always felt that, that I need to do something. I want to do something, and so I'm getting there out there. And it took longer. Actually, it took shorter. No, actually, some part of it is going to be longer and some part is going to be shorter. So be mindful of that. So not everything is sunshine and rainbow, and not everything has to be so complicated. And like not at all. you know there will be fluctuation in that as well, and you can get there. you know you only could more than you actually know. Yeah. And with the question that our brother here, Heiko, share, you know, um, you can find that out, your worth. And if you have any question or anything that you would like to know, if this touches you or if you feel aligned, resonate, in any time, feel free to, well, reach out to us, send us a message, send a comment or whatever. And we are very excited, again, to walk this journey with you guys along the way. And let's leave the world better than we found it together, all right?
Very well said, brother. And yeah, the last thing I just want to say, I finished with the words of Mufasa, where like as you're going through your journey, remember who you are.
And remember the power of creation you possess, guys. Remember that. All right. All right. Take care. Love you guys. Love you guys. I just have a tongue
Take
twisted
care.
there. And take care. See ya. Bye.
Bye bye.